Not to spoil the rest of the story for you, but eventually, the English brought slaves from Africa to the Americas to work in their colonies. By the end of the 1600s, it was fairly obvious that there wasn't enough workers in the English colonies to meet the huge demand for work. Why was there such a demand for workers in the English colonies? Were the English so lazy that they didn't want to do their own work? Well, there's a little bit more to it than that. In fact, there are 3 reasons why this demand for workers was so huge. Let's take a quick look at them. Reason number 1 why the English colonies needed so many workers: cash crops are usually labor intensive. In other words, the types of crops they grew required a lot of workers to plant, harvest, and process. Writing about slaves working with sugarcane in 1745, Reverend William Smith wrote, "During crop time they worked night and day almost incessantly. Sugarcane had to be cut, transported to the mills, and then processed. It, along with other cash crops, was very labor intensive." Reason number 2 why the English colonies needed so many workers: people coming to the colonies wanted to become landowners themselves. That is to say, they didn't want to spend their lives working someone else's field. With a lot of land available to the colonists, once the Native Americans were driven out, that is, land was relatively easy to come by, with many colonies giving it away to those who either paid their own way across the Atlantic or finished their term of service as an indentured servant. Reason number 3 why the English colonies needed so many workers: it took a lot of work to clear land for their farms. Unlike farms back in England, farms in North America had to be cleared from forests. Roads had to be built between towns, fences had to be put up, and barns and houses had to be constructed. All of this took a lot of time, effort, and many workers. So, for a quick recap, there are 3 reasons why there is such a huge demand for workers in the English colonies. First, cash crops are usually labor intensive. Second, people coming to the colonies wanted to become landowners themselves. Third and lastly, it took a lot of work to clear land for their farms. For these reasons, there was a huge demand for workers in the English colonies. Eventually, as we'll see in the next few days, the English will turn to African slaves to meet this demand. The Atlantic slave trade, as the trade in slaves came to be known, is one of the greatest injustices in human history. But that's for another time. Thanks for watching.